Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I have come here because I want to share with you my own secret of what happened. I'm 21 years now, but I still carry the weight of something that happened back when I was just 17. We were preparing for our metric dance. It is something I never thought that will ever happen to someone like me in her country, and I never thought that I'll end up even coming on social media to think that I would even get the time to speak about it, because I carry shame and disgust. I'm so disgusted by myself, by my friends, by the things that we did, and I feel as if I was forced to even do satanic things simply because me and my friends, we wanted money, and I feel as if there is always a shadow that follows me behind, and there is a darkness, such a darkness that I do not even wish on anyone, even on some of my enemies. But I have been killing myself silently and softly because I am afraid to talk about it. And maybe if I confess, it is going to help me once again. Back then, my friends and I, we were just 4 township girls. We grew up, all of us, in Johannesburg, and we were just trying to escape poverty. And my friend told me that she had a plan. So the metric dance was not just going to be a party for us. It was just going to be the night where we were going to feel like we were girls from the magazines, dressed in beautiful gowns. It was supposed to be nice. This is something that you have to remember for the rest of your life. But the reality was that our moms, they were just domestic workers, and as for our fathers, they were just poor, and they could not afford to get what we wanted. I knew that my mom, she had already spoken with this other woman who was going to sew a cheap dress for me, and my friend had her mom saying that she was going to buy a dress in Jet of all the shops. Can you just imagine that was where she wanted to go and buy a metric dress? And we knew that we could never be able to get the designer dresses that were going to make us look like princesses. It was impossible. And then my friend told me that we were supposed to get blessers. By the way, we were still underage teenagers, and we were discussing about blessers. We had heard that if you can get a blesser, an older man, that man will be able to assist you. Already at our school, there were a couple of girls that we knew dated blessers, and these men especially loved high school girls, and these girls, they had phones that had been bought for them by the blessers, shoes, always had money, and they dated men that drove beautiful cars. And these men, mostly they were Nigerians, Congolese, and there was one girl who connected us to an Indian who dated only Arabs, who lived in the north of Joburg. And when I heard my friend saying that this was what we were supposed to do, and I started laughing at her because I said I will never be able to do that. But as the metric dance drew closer, and we saw that some of the girls, they at school, they were bragging about the gowns that their parents had ordered. Some even were ordering from Centon boutiques, and the temptation, it was just too much. Like when I would go to bed, I would feel the temptation eating me up alive. So there were 4 of us. It was me. I'll just give you names of these girls, but it is not their real names. I'll just name one, Nomvula, Sinclair, and Ayanda. And as for the 4 of us, we were like sisters. We were inseparable. We told ourselves that we would only do it once, only sleep with blessers just to get the money for dresses, then stop just one night, Nomvula said, and we will get what we want so that at least we can look good. Through that girl at school, we got connected to a man. So this man was an Arabian. He was filthy rich, and he had a thing for young girls, looking for fresh girls that had never done it like before. I was scared All of us, we were scared, but we were desperate. When she showed us the money that was in her mom's account, she was using her mom's account without her permission. She did not even know that in her account sometimes 20, 50 Ks were being deposited. Whenever her daughter would go to sleep with this Arabian man, they would deposit money into her account. So she gave us the contacts. I was scared to speak with this man, but it was my friend. She was the one that was organizing everything. The man said it was fine. He wanted the four of us all at once, since we all wanted money. He told us that we were going to have a meeting with him at this other house, I'll just say in Bryanston, on a Friday night. He promised us that he was going to give each and every one of us 15K, since we had never done this before. He said, you are like little virgins, and I'm so excited. This was more than enough for the gowns, makeup. We even thought of hiring some cars. We convinced ourselves that this was going to be worth it. When we arrived, the house was so huge. In the front yard, there were tall trees, high walls, security guards, big dogs. And when we got inside, it was so amazing and beautiful. It was that Indian man and another Indian man. The two men, they just looked like each other, and they welcomed us. They said that we were like black princesses. That was the beginning of the nightmare. At first, we thought it was all going to be normal. All of us, we had had sex before. Nothing was going to be new. Then they started playing music, dancing, and we started drinking. At around midnight, the man, the owner of the house, clapped his hands and the music stopped. His smile changed into something. He said, okay, it is time for you girls to start working so that you can become your money. You can have your money. Tonight you want to be the queens. You must prove that you want to be little princesses. And you must be a queen that must obey a king. And I am your king. So since he was tipsy, we thought that it was a joke, until one of his servants, the maid, brought a silver tray that was covered with beautiful golden leads. When they opened them, oh my God, the stench hit us like fire. On the trays, there were bowls of human waste, like human feces that was dried up. We screamed and we gagged, we covered our mouth. But then the Indian man said that this was the only way for us to get the money. He looked at us and he said, if you want your dresses, you are going to eat, otherwise you can live with nothing. I can pay you 200, but you will walk back home and you'll just be poor. Just do it. And he started to tell us of how much more he could give us eventually. I froze, but it was Nomvula who started, and she said, okay, I can do it. In the meantime, Zintle, she was crying even more than I was doing. We cannot do this. We cannot do this. And then we just said, okay, we're going to do it, because we were scared that this man, they can end up hurting us. So poverty was the winner on that night. We sat down and we started to eat for hours all through the night. They forced us to eat the human feces whilst they watched when we were eating the human poop. They laughed, and what disturbed me was that this man, they never had sex with us. Rather, what they did was that they took videos on their phones, and each and every time we vomited, they laughed even more. We cried and we begged them to stop, but they made us to lick it off silver spoons, drink water, and continue. It was pure humiliation, and the humiliation that I faced on that night, it was something else. By morning, we had made our money, but I could not stop vomiting. When it was finally over, that was when he threw money at us as if we were trash. You know, the way that he gave us the money, he was hitting us with the money. And when we left the house, I was totally broken. We hired a car. When we were in the car, the taxi that we had hired, none of us spoke with each other. We just sat in silence, holding our envelopes in our little handbags that was full of money. And I kept on thinking about the things that I had done. So by the time that the matric dance came, indeed, we looked gorgeous. We looked beautiful. We managed to buy the dresses that were so beautiful. After everything changed, I could not even eat to this very day. I can't eat certain foods without vomiting, and I've been struggling in all of my relationships. I cannot trust a man. I feel dirty inside, and I end up being a bitter woman, an ungrateful one. That is what all the men that I have dated say about me. But they do not know that this bitterness, it is coming from the way that I was humiliated by those Indian men. Sometimes when I go to sleep, I get so traumatized because I feel their hands touching me, them forcing me to eat poop. I just want people to know that these things, they do exist. No one in the family knows that the beautiful dress that I wore on my matric dance, we had to eat human poop in order for us to get what we wanted. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our sister right there. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak with her in the comment section. Then there is another message that was sent to me by our dear brother Yo. The message reads like this. Hello, how are you? I am a man who has paid for his crime. I came out of prison. It was soon after lockdown. I was then deported back to Zim, but when I returned back home, really, there was nothing that I could do. Zim has changed, especially for us, those that have spent a very long time in South Africa. When you return back home, everything has changed. The way that people make money these days, if you are from outside of the country, you will die of starvation. Here in South Africa, if you look for a job, eventually you can get, even if it is not a high-paying job. But back home, it is all about survival of the fittest. You have to hustle. There is no one that is going to employ you. When I came here to South Africa, I had a great job. I am a panel beater, by the way. So I became friends with this other man who had money. I knew that he always had money in his house because he was not keeping the money in the bank. Back in the location where I was staying, there were other men that were from this other gang. I used to be friends with them because I used to fix their BMWs. They used to go for spinning, and whenever they wanted me to fix their cars, I would fix them. So the man that I'm talking about, who was eventually killed, one day he came with one of his car that was supposed to be fixed. So as I was fixing it, I saw that there was a huge bag that was full of cash, and I gave it to him. He gave me a bit, and that was when I knew that this man, he always travels around with cash in his car. I then told the guys that I used to work with those gangsters that we could make a quick money. I did not know that they will end up killing the man. They followed him one day. I literally called him to my garage so that he can come and see me because I was busy spray painting one of his vehicles that he had bought for his daughter. For he used to buy these cars, and his daughter or his son will use them whilst he was marketing them online until they would have gotten a client. That was his own hustle. So when I called him, those other gangsters, they were just there by my workshop. They were waiting to see him, and they had another car that was parked somewhere else with people waiting to follow this man. The man came, we spoke, I delayed him until it was somewhere around past 6 p.m. That was when he said, it's already getting late, there is somewhere I need to go to. They followed him. He went to this other gym, and they waited for him until he came out of the gym, and they followed him to his house. When he was by this gate, when he was trying to open the gate, that was when they pulled out and jumped out, and he tried to fight with them, and a gunshot, and they took the car, and they took some cash that he had in his car, and they ran away with money. They gave me the money. They were arrested, and I was also arrested. I spent a long time in prison, and I was finally released. When I came out of prison, then I returned back to Zim. My relatives, none of them wanted to see me because of what I had done. When I came back to South Africa, I continued working as a panel beater. One day, I had the bonnet of the car open because I was trying to remove some fenders. That was when I heard the engine of the car being started, and I knew that I was alone at the workshop, for it was a weekend. My workers, they do not work over the weekend. It was on a Sunday, and when I got up from where I was, I looked and I saw that there was a man that was sitting behind the steering wheel. I approached the man and I saw that this man that I was looking at, it was that very same man that I organized the hit on, and it was not my intention for him to get killed. He disappeared and I collapsed to the ground. I only woke up after a couple of hours when another customer came, and I started to have epileptic fits and seizures. Since that day to this very day, I struggled with epilepsy. I do not know if you know any traditional healer that can assist me. I face so much bad luck, so much that my company is running very well. But even though I am able to pay the people that work for me, for I have 5 people that are working for me, that are my panel beaters, I am able to pay them their salaries. But that is all that I can do. Pay their salaries, pay for the rental, and apart from that, I cannot even afford to pay myself. I cannot even afford to rent a room. So now what I do is that I am staying at the workshop. That is where I am staying right now. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section, for I am looking for someone that can assist me, if it is a traditional healer who can cleanse me, so that I can stop seeing the spirit of the man that I helped to kill. It was never my intentions. I just thought that these guys, since they were professionals, like they told me that they were professionals, all that they were going to do was to follow this man. After they would have followed that guy, then they were going to take his cash. As they had told me, no violence. They said, we are not going to show him any violence. But when they followed him, unfortunately, they had to shoot him in order for them to grab the cash. And I know that people are going to be angry for the money that they found in the car. It was not even a lot of money. This even made the judge to be so angry in court and gave us a lengthy sentence. And those guys that were the owners of the gun and the men that shot, one of the guy, he was given a life sentence. As for me, I was given 8 years in prison, and due to good behavior, I came out of prison. I am a changed man, but I am struggling because of the ghost of this man. My relatives, they do not want to see me anymore. It was an innocent mistake that I did because of the pressures of having many girlfriends. I was dating up to 8 women that I was dating at that time. These were like my girlfriends that were permanent. Then I had other girlfriends, those that were my fly-by-nights. All of these women, they wanted money from me. And whenever I did not have money, they used to stress me quite a lot. And this is what made me to end up doing such a deal that got this brother from my country killed. I never had any intentions for someone to get hurt. But there are times when you do not have control on what happens. I don't know why God keeps on punishing me, because when we were still in prison, they told us that God knows that we are going through what we are going through and we are paying for our sins. I even started to go to the scripture union and following God, and that is how I transformed and I started to have good behavior when I was in prison. But no matter how hard I tried and still try, I keep on seeing this spirit of that man. I don't know how can I repay for my sins when the law has already judged me and I have already served the judgment that was given on me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brother. Let us try to speak with our dear brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Hey.